Okay, so I'm back at camp, laying in my hammock, because when it's dark and cold, there's really not much to do other than lay in the hammock. As I promised, I was going to talk a little bit more about Artopia and why I'm putting up with all of this psychological mumbo-jumbo, and why I'm putting up with all of the other things that go along, all of the other sacrifices that go along with camping out in the winter in a city park. Why am I doing that? What does it have to do with Artopia? And the only way I can really explain it is to start with how it all started for me. So it's kind of a story, and it starts when I was 18. You must know I'm 34 now, so this is 16 years ago. I had never even been on the internet before, and I was living in North Carolina, and I had an intense revelation about the interconnectedness of all things. In this revelation, I knew that the internet was going to play a really big part in a lot of things. Bigger than just sales. Bigger than, just some kind of new television or new form of advertising. The internet really is still in its infancy, and I believe only 1%, if that, 0.1% of its potential has been reached. And this whole potential, the whole gamut of what the internet can do for society at large, inspired me to get very involved. I had never done any programming before. I'd never even I owned a computer, but I never really did much with it. And so I sat down and I designed Artopium.com on paper without ever touching a computer or anything. I just sat down and drew out all its concepts. And I saved up money, I got a computer, I taught myself how to program, and I spent a good part of 6 years designing Artopium and then scrapping it and then redesigning it. It's been through probably about 5 different phases to reach the final product of what you see now online. I knew that Artopium, in a sense, was going to help all of these artists connect. And my big point, the big reason I wanted to do this, was because I saw the disparity between the very rich elite artists and the starving artist. And I thought this was completely unfair, and I thought that all artists should at least have an opportunity or a chance to try to make a decent living. They don't need to get rich. They would just like to pay their rent. So that's kind of the philosophy and the motto behind Artopium, is that I want to help every artist reach at least a level where they can sustain themselves on their art. And of course not everybody's cut out for this. Not anybody can be a carpenter. Not anybody can be a mathematician. Okay? But if you are a good carpenter, you have at least a better chance of getting a job that will help you pay your rent than if you're an artist. So I sat down and I decided to make Artopium as a place where all artists could come sell their works online. And that's essentially what it is right now. And of course, I know that there are a lot of other places that you could go to sell your art online. And I'm talking about, when I say art, I mean all of the arts. So art, music, fashion, and video and books, the tangible arts. And I know you can go to DeviantArt, you can go to Etsy, you can go to eBay, you can go to mp3.com used to let you sell your independent music. Amazon will let you. And the truth is, Artopium existed before all of those sites. I had Artopium online, on the internet, and available to the internet public for selling their goods at least 2 years before mp3.com came onto the scene. The biggest problem with Artopium isn't how well it works. I mean, if you were to sign up and create an account and sell your goods on there, that process works just as good as any other site. The problem is kind of a catch-22 that happens on, it's kind of a critical mass issue that happens on the internet. And it goes something like this. If you're an artist and you want to sell if you're an artist and you want to sell your work on the internet, then you want to know that the website you're selling your art on is bringing customers to your art. And if you felt like there weren't enough people buying stuff on the site, then you're probably not going to sign up. Likewise, if you're a customer and you go to a website, you want to be able to choose and browse from hundreds of thousands of titles. So the catch-22 comes, how do I get all the artists to sign up if I don't have customers, and how do I get customers if I don't have artists? This is exactly why mp3.com and Amazon and barnesandnoble.com and all the rest of them, I guess Barnes & Noble didn't count because they were already a business before they were a website, but all of these other websites became really big and very popular because the owners of the sites, when they created it and launched it, put millions of dollars into the database. They essentially went out to companies that do what's called data mining, and they find all of these active users of other websites and then kind of secretly sign them up to the new website. If you've ever gotten an email that says, hey, we just noticed that you have blah blah blah, come check out our site, and you get there and there's already kind of like a profile about you set up, and I've noticed this with Artopium. There's a lot of like websites that have just grabbed Artopium's information and put it into their database. So it's called data mining. And what happens with websites like mp3.com and Amazon, well, maybe not Amazon, but user-based sites, MySpace, social networking sites, Facebook, all of these sites started with data mining. And so that when they launched, they already had thousands, hundreds of thousands of users. And we'll put bunny ears around that because none of these people had actually ever been to the site before. But of course, data mining costs millions of dollars. I don't have millions of dollars. I'm just a poor boy trying to be an entrepreneur. So here I am, I'm stuck with this problem with Artopium. And I was stuck with another problem, and that was that I was working a dead-end job. I was working at Singular, answering the phone and providing technical support for cellular phones. And I felt like the cubicle job that I had was absolutely dead-end. Not to mention the fact that I felt like I was working for a very evil company. And not only was this company taking up all of my time and paying me very little money, but I felt like I was caught in this rat race. That here I had to keep this job I hated in order to pay rent on an apartment I hated. And I couldn't give up one or the other, or I would lose one or the other. And nobody wants to be homeless, right? And that was really like the biggest problem, was that if I really wanted to start my own business, I needed at least money, and if not money, I needed time. And working a dead-end job wasn't going to get me either. That's when I discovered this Google Tech Talk video. And this particular Google Tech Talk was about a guy, this particular Google Tech Talk was a guy that came in and was talking specifically about internet marketing techniques and how to make your website feasible. How to not just profitable, but how to make it long-lasting. How to make a website not just a fad for a year or two, but a real sustainable company that is going to last for decades. But essentially what he said was that if you want your website to be sustainable, it must be remarkable. There must be a story behind the website. So, for instance, Google Video in particular, I just mentioned their website, and in particular that section of their website, the video section, and I did it by telling a story. And I remarked upon Google just now. The thing is what makes Artopium different? What makes Artopium remarkable? What if I, and once again I'm going to put bunny ears around this, become homeless, and I talk about Artopium from that viewpoint? That might get a few people's attention. And to be perfectly honest, I've been doing it for at least 2 to 3 years before I started making these videos. I'm sorry, it was about 2 years in Austin, Texas. I decided to do guerrilla urban camping there. That's where I started out. And as a promotional campaign, I started the Roving Festival. So, as a way of helping the Artopium artist members make something immediate, to gain something immediately, the festival seemed like the right idea because the website didn't have any traffic yet. So if I can get people to sign up to the website and then throw a festival for them, there's an immediate benefit. And so that's what I did, and I tried to help as many artists in Austin as I did. As a matter of fact, I had a lot of artists that came to me after the festivals and told me, hey, I wasn't able to pay rent until I came to your festival and sold a few paintings. And if I even helped one artist pay their rent, I felt, mission accomplished. But I'm not going to stop there. I'm not going to stop with just one artist. So I threw about 4 or 5 festivals, and if you want to see how they turned out, you can go to rovingfestival.com and then just click on the photos section, and you'll see there. I'm sorry, actually I changed the name of that. It's not called photos anymore. It's called media. Click on the media tab at the top of the page, and you'll see all of the events that I threw. Most of them in Austin. Actually, all of them in Austin. The Roving Festival was kind of like a way of launching the campaign, the advertising campaign for the website. And becoming homeless was a way of allowing me to have more time to work on the website, to make the business happen. And in a way of possibly, if I do it right, helping to make the website remarkable. Well, needless to say, the website and Roving Festival and the Guerrilla Urban Camping have all evolved into something much, much more than that original idea. It's become something of a philosophical nature, something much bigger than me. And I've realized that by doing what I'm doing, I'm actually affecting people in ways I never expected. Sometimes good and sometimes bad. And I'm going to get into that too. The bad part is playing a huge role in how I think I'm going to tackle this issue in the future. But in any case, that's not the short, that's kind of the medium story. Still a lot of details in there that I could probably fill in, but that's the medium story of how Artopium came to be and the Roving Festival, and part of the reason I decided to move out. And when I did it very intentionally, and I think that's something that a lot of people need to be aware of, is that this wasn't an accident. I didn't accidentally lose my job. I didn't accidentally lose my apartment. I quit my job. I sold all my furniture. I moved out of my apartment. I bought a bunch of camping equipment. And I did it all very much on purpose. Anyway, I'm going to turn the camera off for a second, rest my arms because I've been holding them up, pointing both the camera and the light in my face. But when I come back, I'm going to explain a little bit more about Roving Festival, and I'm going to explain a little bit more about the philosophy behind Artopium, and I'm going to explain a lot more involving the philosophy behind guerrilla urban camping and what it is. And to be more specific, guerrilla urban camping has become a huge trend, and within the last year, I have been seeing lots of new websites and blogs come up exclaiming that, you know, they are the first or the best guerrilla urban camper, or that explaining new techniques in guerrilla urban camping. I guess I'm the only one that says guerrilla. It's mostly just referred to as urban camping. I like the guerrilla part because, you know, I think it kind of fits more like how I do it. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to rest my arms and I'll be back to explain the rest in a bit. Peace.